Everyone, today we're doing an iconic 1940s makeup look. I've taken some inspiration from stars like Rita Hayworth, Vivian Leigh, Veronica Lake and co. It's feminine and elegant. One of those era makeups that I think translates really well, even today, because it's just classically beautiful. This is also a super duper exciting video because it's part of a collaboration called Makeup Through the Ages. So I'm teamed up with some amazing YouTubers. I'll link their era makeup looks in the description box down below and on the screen at the end of this video so that you can check them out after you watch this video. Okay, so let's start. We are going for complexion perfection today because that's something that stars of the time would have worn. So I'm blending a medium coverage foundation all over my face. And then I'm going in with my beauty blender, which is my tool of choice when building coverage because it seems to keep the skin looking really touchable and tactile. Today I'm using the Armani Luminous Silk, which is the most photogenic foundation that I've ever encountered. If I were getting married, which I'm not, by the way, this is an heirloom, but if I were, I would use Luminous Silk because it just pictures flawlessly. For the brows, there is quite a distinctive brow shape in the 40s. It's quite full and natural with a very exaggerated arch. Okay, so to achieve this brow shape, I've brushed all my hairs upwards and I'm adding a few extra hairs to the highest point of my arch. I'm also really extending my brow here, my brow tail. We're going for a lot of length. So more often than not, I noticed that 40s brows were very rounded, but I did notice that some stars like Lauren Bacall and Ingrid Bergman, they had quite angular brows, and so do I. So we're just gonna work with it. Okay, onto the eye look. It's not a big eye look, it's actually quite simple. I'm going to start by taking an eyeshadow that's about one shade lighter than my skin tone, and I'm dusting that from lash line to brow. This is going to act as a subtle highlight later on because I noticed that the brow bone and the mobile lid were really prominent in this era. So for this look, I want really deep, sunken, sultry sockets, and I don't got that naturally, so we're gonna fake it. I'm starting off with a medium chestnut shade and I'm blending that through the crease to give it more depth. I'm taking that right into the inner corner. I'm also going to swoop that shadow here in sort of a C shape. I noticed this shadow a lot in photos and it makes it look as though the brow bone is protruding even more. I'm then going in with a deeper grey shade and nestling that tighter into the crease. This is not meant to really register as makeup. It's more clever definition to make the eye look deep set. Okie dokie, from what I can tell, it doesn't look as though there was a huge emphasis on liner. It was more about the lashes. So I'm going to be using this Physicians Formula liquid eyeliner in the shade Black. It's not actually black, it's grey, and that always irritated me, but it's actually perfect for this look. So I'm creating a very thin line all the way across the top lash line. Now sometimes I see a wing and sometimes I don't, so I'm gonna add a little wing. Another thing that I always do when I do I don't know. Another thing that I always do is I tightline the top lashes. This is just to get those distracting gaps of skin. It really condenses the lash line. Onto the false lashes, and it is a big part of the 40s look, and I love false lashes, so this is my kind of era. To me, the lashes look perfectly separated and fanned, so you want to avoid anything too wispy or lashes with a crisscross motion. I've chosen these lashes by Sephora. They're very separated and very fanned, and they fit the bill. So to apply the lashes, I'm going to drop them first just on the middle of my lash line. And then I'm going to pull the lash band and anchor it as far as I can towards the outer corner of my eye. So by anchoring the false lashes very far towards the outer corner, what you get is this effect where the lashes extend and they cast the shadow to give us that sort of sleepy, bedroom eyes, femme fatale kind of thing. So the last step would be to add some mascara just to blend the false lashes to the natural ones. I'm just adding that mascara to the top lashes, not to the lower lashes, because to me, the lower lash line looks entirely bare. So back to the rest of the face. If you look at the black and white shots of the 40s starlets, you'll see that they have this incredible bone structure, cheekbones that could cut ice. And I was actually quite surprised to discover that shading was popular at the time. Now, before I contour, I'm going to highlight. And for this, I love the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles. What I don't love is this damn sponge. Does anyone know if I can rip this off and will it still dispense product? Because I just find that really yucky. Okay, so I've dispensed some of that product on the back of my hand and I'm going to dab that onto the tops of the cheekbones, a little bit towards the center of the face, a bit between the brows, a little bit on the chin, all over my face, and just some quick concealer before I forget. So now that I've done all my wet products, I'm just going to set my entire face with some setting powder. So 40's skin was very matte, but also I'm using a powder contour today and it will adhere much more evenly over a powdered surface. I want all the cheekbones, so I'm going to be using my favorite Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder and my favorite Ray Morris Ultimate Cheekbone, and I'm dipping the shorter bristles into the contour powder and carving out those cheekbones. I'm also running a bit of that contour powder directly on the jawbone to slim it down a little bit. So now for the lips, definitely the most striking and iconic part of any 40s makeup look. Red lips were seen as a sign of strength and patriotism. And the lip shape is also really interesting. The upper lip is very rounded and full. So I'm going to start by making some alterations to my lip shape with a red lip pencil. If you don't like overlining the lips, look away now. I'm adding some volume to the outer portions of my upper lip, but I'm keeping the shape very round, no pointy edges. I'm also feathering that lip pencil inwards so that my lips wear evenly and I don't get that sort of ugly outline after a few hours. So picking a lipstick for this tutorial was excruciating. These are my first world problems. Finally, I decided upon this one, and this is by Terry Funky Ruby, and it's a blue-based, pinky sort of red. So using a lip brush, I'm going to really work that lipstick into the lips so that it becomes a satin stain. 40's lips, whether they be orange red or blue red, were always more of a satin finish. It wasn't the glossy finishes that we saw in the 50s with Marilyn Monroe. So give the lips a really good blot. Once the lips are on, I can really gauge how much blush I need. And I'm actually going to be using the same lipstick. I've put a little bit on the back of my hand and I'm really buffing it into a stippling brush. To the point where the brush is pretty much dry and all we have is a dry pigment. And that way I can apply it over a powdered base. Blush placement was sculptural, so I'm starting on the side of the apple of the cheek and making my way up the cheekbone. So lucky last step and totally optional, but I'm going to decipher exactly where my lashes cast the shadow, and I have that darker eyeshadow on an angle brush. I'm going to exemplify it. So it's almost as though my lashes are so heavy that they're casting this incredible shadow. And that, guys, is my 1940s face. I really hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did and maybe learned something a little bit new. As I was doing research for this look, actually, I kind of started musing to myself, what do you think will be the defining makeup trends of this era, our current era? Is it the Kim K highlight? Because I'm not entirely sure and I'd be really curious to know what you think. Make sure you hang around for a few seconds to see the other era looks. I Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye bye!